for everything that we can think of. So some of our lenders that we talk to, they give us their Zillow leads or long form leads. And what I say to them is, I promise you every one of them will come to you. So essentially, I assign the lender to the leads that they give me. They'll give it to me in an Excel format, and you should hit up your lenders if you're doing a lot of business with them and say this, by the way. Say, hey, I want to get your list of Zillow long form leads. They're all paying for it, right? But their people are terrible at following up most of the time from the lender perspective, and we want the business, right? So if they give it to you and you say, I guarantee you I can give you a report and tell you who I've called and how many people are coming to you from me, they're going to be much more apt to give you those leads, and then you plug them into KV Core, and now you've got a lead pool that you can start to call off of. My team literally calls those long form leads, and I'll give you some crazy statistics. It sounds like the silliest thing until you hear the statistics. We were doing 7 out of 100 calls were producing a buyer with an approval. It's insane numbers, very, very high numbers. And that's why you see our actives, the greens there. There's 413 people amongst 9 of us that either are seller leads, which mean they're in the next 30 to 60 days, or they're buyers with approvers on file. We don't put buyers and approval on file unless they're in the active bucket. That came from these types of sources, but KV Core did all the work for us on the background, right, in the back, behind the scene. So when we get those leads, we start nurturing them. We start pushing them along the process. And I know that everyone wants to pick up a phone call and say, the person goes, I'm so ready to talk to you. But we all know that solar salesmen proved us wrong, right? Nobody wants to talk to us. So, but if you somehow build a rapport and then make that correspondence, right? When you're educating them to the point that they're ready to make a move, you go. But by the time we get to that, we always forget. We always don't contact them, and then the next agent that swoops in gets them, and poof, then your lead's gone, right? KV Core keeps that on the schedule you plan, and that's probably the most powerful piece. The automations that they do is what's the most powerful piece. Unfortunately, folks get so caught up in contacts, you never get to the automation piece. And I'm gonna, if it's okay, I'll kind of like jump in and show you how we use it. And then, any questions so far?
When you're talking about putting somebody in the prospects and you're just letting them nurture those 18,000, you're saying that the system's doing work in the background even if you don't have them set up on a campaign?
No, you have to add them to a campaign.
Okay.
Yeah, and a good example, on prospects, we do what we call pure value campaigns. So this is, how do you monitor and cut your electrical bills? How do you reduce your tax liabilities? It has nothing to do with direct real estate. It's just, we know once a month we're gonna give you pure value, and you're gonna remember us when time comes.
Glenn, is that written, do you write that, or is that just a piece that you pull to enter into a campaign?
So it varies. I've bought a lot. I've had professional copywriters write some of it,
okay.
Because I want the hooks, I want the calls to action. For instance, the Sphere campaign, that's a pure bought campaign offline. If you type KV Core campaigns, there's one writer that comes up, and I can't remember off the top of my head her name. She has good campaigns. They do work. They really do work. Some of them seem hokey. I'll tell you. Don't think of it through your lens. Think of it through someone else's. So don't beat yourself before you actually get the prospect in the right area. So, but yeah, campaigns. We do a lot of custom ones. I have, if anyone's never heard of this, is a good one to write down. HomeBot. HomeBot AI is the name of it. So what HomeBot is, it's probably the best kept secret until now. HomeBot is it's a CMA tool, but it's not really a typical CMA tool. So anyone that's heard of Mint or used their online banking or brokerage accounts, they all have an app, right? HomeBot sends out an email that tells people their home value in a really cool format. Like it trends it out. It's pretty accurate for an AI-based engine. And what we do is we kind of cook the books a bit. So we go out to Zillow, we go out to HomeBot and look at the numbers, and then we look at RPR, and then we say, make the number $5,000 more than the highest one. Because if you send someone a $400,000 CMA and they know their next door neighbor just sold for $525, they're not gonna love you, right? But if the CMA is 5,000 over what all the norms say, and then they request a formal one, that's where the magic is. And we get about 6 requests a month from HomeBot for people wanting a formal CMA. And it's a very, very cheap solution. So when we put someone on campaign with HomeBot, they get a message, and I can literally, I'll show you the message from the campaign perspective. And this is just another campaign. So any seller lead that we get in the system, they go on HomeBot. It automatically once a month sends them a CMA, and the CMA has something else. They can enter in their mortgage details, and it shows them their balance statement And then below that, it shows them what, if they VBRO'd or Airbnb'd their place, what it's worth. It's just, people get hooked on it. I look, and in HomeBot, like, the unsubscribe rate is like zilch. Almost nobody unsubscribes, and every 28 days I'm in their face. That's what I want. I want to be remembered. So that's why I use HomeBot so much. And when we put out the campaign, it looks like this. Boy, my vision is not good. Let me just bring up. So the HomeBot, if anyone's seen campaigns, this is a classic. Wow, that looks like Cyrillic Russian. So what I'll tell you what it says here. So basically, it says send HomeBot coming soon video, right? And the video is literally me going this. I'll even click it so you can see what it does. I'll try to turn up my volume. Just mirroring my display. Maybe
Did
that'll
you
help.
know that 83% of personal wealth and retirement comes from home equity?
I'm normally not that red, but but all it is telling them that they're going to get HomeBot. That's really what it is. But it's a video. So now they've identified that I've offered it to them, and this is all automatic. I recorded it once, cry once, buy once. I've done it once. You can literally do this on your phone. You don't have to have the green screen in the background. They just want to know it's you, right? You can put it on your phone, and then you put it into a KV Core campaign. Now the rest of that campaign, this is how cool the system is. It adds the hashtag HomeBot so that we know in the system that they have HomeBot, right? I want to make sure I know who has HomeBot, and I can run reports. It changes them to Sphere automatically so that they go into our Sphere campaign along with the HomeBot one. And then it says 30-day follow-up to HomeBot, which it puts a 30-day follow-up on all of our agents' calendars to say, call them and see how they like HomeBot. I don't take the chance that the agents are going to remember. We put the tasks on using the campaigns. I forget everything. Like, I'm going to walk out of here and not remember a thing that I did with you guys, right? But the system tells me all the time what to do, and I just follow the plan. And that's the hardest part. I find with my agents, like, getting them into a routine of doing this is really, really hard. But once you start to use tasks and follow-ups, it works perfectly. Now, I will forewarn you, when you start to use tasks and follow-ups in KV Core, you're going to have an immense task list because you're not going to keep up with it. It's just a new habit, and it's very hard. I'm probably 100 and something behind in terms of my tasks I need to do, right? Because the system's going to put them on your calendar and remind you of all the things you should have done that you didn't do. And that's the most important part of the whole program, is telling you the things that you should follow up on and putting them automatically on a campaign. So anyone that comes to us, they automatically get put on this HomeBot campaign, and then they get put onto a 30 and a 90-day checkup. And then we back down because HomeBot's sending out automatically every 28 days. We don't want to seem overboard, right? If you communicate too much, if you go from like 0 to, hey, I'm talking to you every day, people are like, you're a weirdo, stop stalking me. So the idea is that it's very, the cadence is really defined and very intentional to make sure that it seems natural. It doesn't seem crazy. And when I said that this is a customer experience game, that's what this does for you. And anyone that has over 100 contacts in your database, which I imagine most do, how hard is it to call them on a regular basis? Even your Sphere, like, I struggle with it every day, all my closed business, calling them and staying in touch. And I know that's where all my business I want to come from, right? So the system lets me do that quite a bit. Other campaigns that are pretty useful, we're believers in value, right? So if you provide value, the law of reciprocity comes into effect and people will come back to you. That's the way we kind of look at it. So we have a campaign that uses KCM buyers and seller guides. You've all heard of KCM, I imagine. So we use their buyers and seller guides, and we send them out on a quarterly basis automatically to everybody, and whether you're on the buyer or the sell side. The system does that. We don't do any of it. Once they're in the system and they're tagged, they just go. And that's the neat part of it. So maybe I'm going to backtrack for a moment. I want to show you some contacts, because I think that's where most people start. You'll notice mine looks a little different than some of yours because I have the team plugin, not an individual agent. I don't know if anyone has any. Does anyone have the team plugin? Okay. So it's from an individual agent perspective. Let me see if I can make this a little bit more visible. Give me 1 second here. Any questions while I'm fixing that?
How long did it take you? I don't think anyone ever masters anything. So I don't want to say you mastered it, but how long did it take you before you got the campaigns really rocking and rolling and really felt like this is turning around the return on investment?
Yeah, probably about month 7 in the platform. And we were pretty active. So here's the deal, is that Weichert deployed it. And again, I'm not beating up Weichert at all, because kudos to deploying it. It's a great platform. they put out these campaigns, and then every single Weichert agent used the same campaign.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
So if you go to
Notice
5
that.
open houses, you get 5 of the same message, everybody's the same. You can't tell if no one's different from anybody else. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh boy, we can't do that. That's just not, that's not how I want to behave. That's not how I want to be remembered. So we said all new campaigns. So we started with high interaction points. I imagine, does anyone do open houses?
Yeah.
Is anyone using the app?
Yeah.
Okay. So we took that open house app and we had created forums long before KV Core, doing this on iPads and kiosks at open houses long before we got to KV Core. As soon as KV Core was there, we're like, oh, we don't have to have any integration. You just use the app and it all comes in if you have Wi-Fi or a signal. But the way that it worked from there was super interactive. So 4 hours after you leave an open house, it's a video of me going, hey, thanks so much for joining the open house today. It was great seeing you. I just wanted to see if this wasn't the house for you or it was. I want to talk to you and figure out how I can help you. That message works for every single person. Like the interaction levels, just from a simple video like that, it's generic. I didn't say, hey, John, hey, Joe. I just said, hey, thanks for joining the open house today. So if you think of that when you're making your campaigns, how would I apply this to 100 people opposed to 1? It can seem as custom and personal as you want it to be without you really going through the hoops of having to make it custom for everyone. Yep, go ahead.
Glenn, quick question on that. I purposely months ago went into as a buyer for Katie Sackhouse, one of her open houses.
Yep.
So I went in, and the follow-up is amazing. It looks like she's writing these emails to me, which is great. So is that the BombBomb that you actually incorporated into that for your videos?
It is.
It is,
I
okay.
integrate both. So I
Okay.
go back and forth because you can do text, let me just make sure I get everything. Text, email, video, and voicemail drops, right? Those are things that are directly integrated. Everyone knows what a voicemail drop is? They're kind of annoying, but they work. And that's the way I put them. Just be ready for them, and I'll explain that before I learned a hard lesson on that one. So the campaign is integrated in all those types, so I like to hit them on all the different medias. For us, we use COVID as an excuse, my team. So we said, when people come in, we're no longer doing paper because the time and effort and the dollars associated with paper is crazy. So we give no forms. So then you say, well, how do you do the CIS piece? So we put all the docs in a Google folder. When you log in, you get a text message within a minute of being in the open house, which has all the docs that you need that are required. Seller's disclosures, everything. We throw it all at them right up front. We want to inform buyer in our house, right? So when we do that, let's say that the person puts in the wrong phone number. I have a script for it. Go, hey, just so you know, we put all that information into a link that just got texted to you. Did you get that? No. Maybe there's a problem with the phone number. Let's go back to the kiosk and make sure you put it in right. How simple is that script to make sure you always get the right phone number? Because now they're on the spot. They have to do it because they didn't get the text. And you're standing next to them with them on the spot. I've never had one not put in the information. But it's all a script. Like all the agents are taught a very similar script. But this is how you gather information and kind of start to stalk. I mean, you get to know the people and you're starting to work the audience. But the campaigns do that follow-up because once they're out of the open house, I'm gonna be very frank, like unless someone's like a hot buyer, I'm not sending them a personalized video. I do for people I know I'm gonna work with. Like when someone walks out of an open house and you're good. That one I'll send a video for and I'll pause the campaign on, right? And I have 4 hours to do that because it doesn't send out for 4 hours very intentionally. For that reason alone, I need to get back home, I need to go back to my desk, and I need to follow up with my notes, right? But I always used to consider an open house 3 hours after I would do more work, right? Follow-ups and all that jazz. Now I've compressed it down to like 30 minutes if I'm doing a custom video. Otherwise, I don't even do anything because I let the system go. I trust what I created is going to do the same thing as if it was in person. And it really works. Our conversion ratios, we did get lots of people, like, everyone has their open house story, right? We had 300 and called the police one time, but those are the rare occasions. Most of them are in a band that you can manage, right? And COVID gave us the excuse to do one-on-ones. We're converting about 3 buyers each open house right now, which I think is a pretty high ratio. A lot of it's about scripts, the in-person piece we focus on a lot, but a lot of it's about how the system works. A lot of agents follow up that first time and never do it again. And we all hear this in all the real estate, but it's true. So we do in just a customized format. We tell them all these things along the way. Hey, and then it says, hey, I know that you didn't respond. I had a perfect example the other day. I get a lead from the office, and the person answered the phone and was misery, absolute misery on the phone, right? So I sent the video. I go, I'm gonna bomb them. I have nothing to lose at this point, and I can even play it. And I go, hi, this is Glenn. I just spoke to you on the phone. you were pretty miserable on the phone. And I just wanted to say, I understand if you don't want to work with me, but I commuted to New York City for 17 years, and the notes say that you wanted someone who understood how to commute to New York City from the Morris County area, and there is nobody that can do it better than me because I worked like a dog, right? Called back 20 minutes later. But but it's the system that allowed, I put her right on campaign after that, right? To keep her engaged, and she's engaging with it. She thinks it's me. Like when people reply, they think it's me. Birthday messages, the same thing. If you have, everyone who has a birthday, you have Facebook now, you look at events. Events tells you birthdays. Every morning, make it a 10-minute deal for yourself. Grab the birthday, put it into the KV Core's birthday tab, and hit the little button on, right? So when you're in KV Core, I apologize, Bob, this screen is really, sorry, not so close. Let me see if I can turn it back to the other way. It's gonna be a little bit big. This is probably actually good for me. Okay,
Good for
so
us too.
yeah, there we go. So in a contact record, doesn't matter what contact I pull up here. I'm gonna pick. Let me pick someone who I have a birthday for. Just looking here to see.
Hey, that's my client.
I'm trying to think of who I had. I'll pick mine for now, right? So, but you even see agent names here. So this is, I know this is a contact that I put in. So under their contact record, if you go to profile details, and this screen looks wider on a normal monitor, so just forgive it, but it's all the same content. If you go down, you'll see that there's a birthday here, right? When you go up and hit edit, and then click birthday, you put in the date of birth. I don't care what their year is. All I care about is the date, right? So don't get hung up. If Facebook only shows you the date and you don't want to have to go in and calculate on the phone their years, just put in and say, okay, this is the day of their birthday, right? And then I hit the button that says send an email and text. And in KV Core, under the automations, there's behavioral automations, and it sends out a birthday message automatically. I suggest you make it a personal one. Like me, every time a video goes out, it says, hey, happy birthday, you can be anything you want today, but a year younger. And that's all the message says, right? Simple as that. And people respond. My wife's my admin. She always says, don't reply to anything that comes in because you're always screwing it up because the automation goes out and I start replying like I'm in a conversation. I have no idea what I'm talking about because they got a birthday message and I'm talking about how their kids are doing. So, but just know that they go out automatically. You never have to worry about missing a birthday or an anniversary of a sale date if you put that in here. It happens automatically. And where you set that up is under smart, I'm sorry, they changed it in the new version. Come on. Up here, I'm under all marketing, and it's normally in the upper right-hand side of the screen, you'll see it, but it says manage your behavioral automations, right? And it takes a second to refresh. Once it does, I'll show you here. So you can actually turn on or off all of the ingredients. I'm sorry, I'm giving you the wrong place.
There's like an app in that marketplace.
It
or
is,
something.
yeah. It's over. Schedule mass emails. No, that's not it. Don't do that, by the way.
Also under profiles and the contacts.
Yeah, we learned that the hard
There
way.
it is. There it is.
with the
They put it under the mark. So it's under all marketing, and then over under learn. Just note, you guys, did you go through templates? Did I tell you how to create a new template in the system? Because to do this, you have to make your own video. You have to make a template of your own. Otherwise, you will be sending out a generic one. You can. There's nothing wrong. You're still giving a birthday wish. But if you want it to be personalized, like what I was saying, you've got to make your own birthday message and change the template to yours. So when you click Change Template, you can pick what template you want to use, and then it'll let you do that. Anniversaries are the same exact way. You can say, hey, I know it's the anniversary of your house. Now here's a little tip that I learned after being on KV4 for a year. Put a note on your personal calendar to change your video, whatever day you put it up. That way they don't get the same message twice. Otherwise it's insincere, right? Everyone has one birthday a year, hopefully. So if you put it on June, well, whatever today's date is, July 7th, and you next year change on July 7th, no one will get the same message again because you changed the message, right? So it's custom and it's personal. And God forbid that's the last message you sent to them. They'll have two of the same message a year later, which is silly. So, but this system does all this for you, but you have to do the work. So what we've done is we established a method that when someone comes into our contacts, and I know not everyone has support staff behind it, But everyone uses White Pages or some other stalking platform to look up contacts, Spokio, White Pages, they're all really good, right? When someone comes in to KV, we have a hashtag research. And someone on our team looks up every single person. When you look up on White Pages almost always shows you the date of birth. Almost always, not always. So it's a requirement that they put in the address and the date of birth, and that means everyone goes on. Now, is it always right? It's not. I get texts going, that's great, it was 6 months ago, right? But I don't care, it's an interaction. Interaction is interaction. And I go, oh, well, congratulations, and I'll get you on the next one. It's as simple as that. Don't take offense to it. No one's gonna hurt you. You're giving a well wish. Who's gonna hate you for it, right? So the idea is when you're going in, you wanna definitely add in their information, and then I'll just show you here again one more time how to do that. You wanna go in and add them in for the information under their profile as much as you can, and that will give you the ability to do things. It helps you send CMAs. It helps you with birthday wishes. It helps you if they say, I want to know more about my neighborhood. It's a really cool way to do it. Questions on that so far? Okay. Anyone using search alerts?
Yes.
Okay, so search alerts, well, I don't know how I do it without it. I set a context, and I use the term stalking on internal purposes. I never say it to a client, right? But I set the context with a client saying, I want to work with you interactively. So when I send you a link from my system, I want you to know that when I send it, it's going to come from a system, and when you hit save, it's going to tell me that you saved it because you're interested, and then I'm going to look it up. So that way, I don't have them going through all those things and not interacting with me. If someone doesn't interact within a week of listings I've sent them, it puts a task on my calendar to call them because something's up. I have to adjust the search or do something. Now, the search criteria, as everyone who's used this in KV Core, when you set up a contact for a search alert, which is under the alert tab here, when you go and you want to set one up, it's going to ask you for a city, state, and such. It's pretty neat because it's a little more general than the MLS, but it does take some getting to know it in order to set it up. An example being, if you want to look for investment properties and you look the wrong way, like I have an investor pool, I put them in here and they're on a once-a-week mailer for all the investment properties. I don't do that mailer manually. I let KV Core send it out. I set up a campaign that did that, right? But when I go in here, I could type Morris County and do a search and then narrow it down in below. You can also do a map search. Anyone that's done business in Sparta knows there's two very different sides to Sparta, right? So if I want someone that wants to be close to the highway and 15 minutes or less, or if I want someone on the other side of Lake Mohawk, I can pick those pieces, right, on a map search here, and it will send it out. Now, how is that different than the MLS? The difference is, number one, the MLS looks horrible when you send it, right? Does anyone love the format of how our MLS sends things, right? Or anyone that uses NJMLS is envious of it because it has a little bit better of a format, right? But this is a really clean, sharp, awesome user interface that they can use. The map is cool, the details are cool, and the save button is even cooler because when they hit save, it shows up on your dashboard. So this is a normal setup, right? I have county, the listing type. Normally, most of us will do single family, right? If I type that right. Single family. You put in your range of price. You put in the number of beds and baths. Always err on the lower side than the higher side. I hope you do that in the MLS, but in this particularly, it becomes really sensitive. You can put square feet, which we know is pretty useless in our MLS. You could put in max acres. I use max, not mins usually, but and then you can also add some keywords. Now here's the trick. Keywords, KV Core works with all MLSs, right? So when they map these things, it doesn't necessarily go name for name. Sometimes you have to go back to our MLS, find the field name, and then figure out how it maps in here. It's not fun. I will forewarn you, that's the hardest part of KV Core, is when you want to add a keyword, if you don't pick their normal ones, like a good example is, what is our criteria in GSMLS for just listed?
Coming soon.
Right, so it doesn't actually map as a coming soon in KV Core. So it'll drive you crazy because you're like, I put it in, they're calling me now with something that's on the, or they got it from Zillow and I don't have it on my list. So I'll forewarn you that it takes some getting used to this. The way I do it is trial and error. As I hit them, I make a map for it, but it's kind of a pain. Yep.
So you mean to tell me that all this coming soons are on this alert?
Coming soon's hit, but delayed. and I don't know what the exact time is. It's like 18 hours, 20 hours sometimes, but coming soons do work because I have someone that I'm shopping in an aggressive marketplace and I send them coming soon saying it's coming on the market these days. Coming soons do come into KV Core, but you have to actually seek them out because the mapping isn't correct. And think about it, coming soon on our MLS is another name on another one, right? That's why KV Core has this struggle of what do I name it and how do I match those names up? So you need to know for the particular MLS what those matches are. For most people, the general stuff works to get you interactive, right? Beds, baths, price ranges, locale. That is usually what most people use. Almost all my agents just use that. But when you have something particular, I want a pool, I don't want a pool, you have to figure out the mapping using those special features. I know a lot of people even have a hard time finding the pool piece in our advanced searches in MLS, right? So, you know, but there's a way to do it. You just have to map the field in, and you have to figure out which field does it. The only way to do that is trial and error.
Some of the
Glen-
styles were confusing too, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
nightmarish.
Specific style.
And you'll see two, right? You'll see like two of the same style. That's because of how it imported in the MLS. Add them both is my recommendation. That's what I do. I'd rather get the bigger net and narrow it down than the smaller net and not have any showing or any listings. There's nothing more embarrassing than someone saying, I found this elsewhere when you had them on a list. So I just keep the net fairly large. And I whittle it down over time, right? As they get more sophisticated about their search.
Glenn, can you customize the keywords or is strictly drop down?
Drop down.
Okay.
You can type them, but they won't come up because it's
Right.
fed by MLS. It's kind of like Zillow feeds, like
Sure.
how Zillow does the ranking between GS MLS and NJMLS. Same type of thing. Someone holds weight, someone doesn't.
Yep.
Yeah.
What if, sometimes I struggle with the keywords where, for example, in the MLS, they don't want townhomes, they don't want condos, so no
Yep.
single fam, 1-4, no multifamily. But I can only put in for one style, like just colonial, not colonial ranch, five
No,
level.
you
Is
can
there a
go down,
way
you
you
can
can
put
do that?
property style.
Yes, that's exactly right. So you can go down and you can add multiples of that. That's exactly right.
Property style?
Yep.
I think
And
it's
that's where I
property
mean.
style, it's townhouse or single
And you
family.
can click multiple things in
Yeah,
this, so you
you
have to.
can, and it keeps adding them, kind of like you'd add different zip codes or counties or individual
Can
states.
you just show that real quick on
Yeah,
there?
but Tara, remember you did do that, Tara? Remember you did do that, and for some reason it only showed you like 2 homes, once you removed all of it, then it showed you.
Yeah.
So, I'm,
So you're looking, you're saying you don't want to do a townhome, right?
Correct.
If you eliminate them here, they shouldn't show.
How do you eliminate them?
You don't use them. Just pick single family style. If you wanted townhomes included in that, include it. Now, there are scenarios, I'm trying to think of ones that would make me create two. Yeah, so I have someone shopping in Sparta. They're looking at big old colonials or a smaller house with a pool. And it's two distinct bands. I actually have to create 2 distinct searches for them that are for those 2 different, because I couldn't get it into one search, right? I can't say I want a big house with a pool, because then you'll be at $900,000 opposed to the $550 with a pool. So you may have to create 2 different searches to tailor to that. If someone says, I want to look at this community and just townhomes in this community, but I'd also like to look here. Okay?
Thank you.
It is quirky, I will forewarn you, and it takes a bit of massaging once you get outside of the standard options. Haven't had anything I can't address yet. I won't lie, sometimes I just go back to the MLS because if it's so complex, like oil, I can't figure out how to get it. Like if they don't want oil, I just can't get the system to do it the way that, and you guys have a lot of that up here. So, but I can't get it to eliminate the oil piece. It doesn't work. So-
but it lets you do natural gas.
It does, but the thing is that you could eliminate something that's on propane, or, you might pick and sort the wrong one out if you do that. If they're okay with both, it's fine, but I haven't, like, if I go in and I say no oil in the advanced search, I get no oil, right? That's not really how I've had it work here. So when I say it's quirky, use it for what it's worth. Know that it's a more generalized, bigger basket search, and it's not perfect, I'll be very frank. Now, what is perfect about it is, once they interact with the system, you get to stalk them, right? And that's an important aspect of it. So a good example is this person saved, knowing that I will look at this 2 hours ago, and saved the house because they like these 2 homes, right? So I know because they hit the save button that they're interested in these homes, and I've established up front that relationship. Tip I forgot. So I have a contact card for myself in my phone. Every person I meet, I don't say, here's my business card. I don't do business cards. I have them, but I don't do them. I say to them, let me have your number and I'll text you my V card back. Now there's two reasons for that. One is, I want their number, right? And as I said, that number goes into new leads automatically. And I'll show you where you set that up. I don't know if everyone knows where that is. I'll show you where we set that up once we're done with this comment. Once they're in my phone, I send them a V card back. That V card has my KV Core number in it.
Your
Right?
smart
So-
number, right?
Yeah, smart number. And we use it as a group, so our team uses one, you use it as an office, it's no different. When we had rolled it out at Weichert, and maybe I'm a little late in this commentary because it was bedlam initially. They roll out KV Core to the office. We all have the same number, I didn't have a team number yet. I put all agents in North Jersey into my contact database. Right? I want to know who they are. I bought the list from Mr. Bill, Dr. Bill, something like that, right? And I put them all in. Well, agents start to call, including our own agents, and guess whose number they went to because they were in their database? Me. All the leads in the office are going to Glenn Baker, apparently. That was the commentary, right? Because I was smart and had all the agents in there. Now, what they didn't realize was the last person to actively interact is the one that gets that round robin to them, right? It goes to them automatically if they come in on that team number. There's no conspiracy behind it. It's black and white how it works. You interact, you get the lead. I have agents that go in the same market and have two of the same leads, lots of duplicate contacts, and they never see them because they don't know. I do because I can see it in my system at the overall view, but the individual agent could have two of the same contacts, and they can. You could have someone come through two open houses if you had them in the same neighborhood, right? And you're both interacting with them. Who wins? The agent that interacts the best, the one that they love the most. I always say everyone coming into my open house is a yes until I make them a no. So if you've made them a yes, then you'll automatically have this option to say, here's my phone number, and when they call that phone number, not just your cell number, but that team number, they come in and they go to you automatically. It routes it to that. I've had almost zero problems with that system. So at an office level, once people understand the rules of it, it's the same as at the team level. There's no conspiracy behind it, I assure you, like in my office, and to this day, we laugh about it. To the contact record, I send the V card immediately to them. The reason why is I created in my contact record, I'm not an Android guy, I'm an Apple guy, but I added a phone number that says SMS. Just a simple message service number, right? That's my team number. Why that's so important? When I send that V card to them and they save it in their phone, from that point forward, I can interact on KV Core or my cell phone with them. So now I'm on the road. I'm pretty sure that my admin has sent off information about these homes to them via KV Core. I'm able to have them do that work because it's not my phone anymore. They know both numbers are me. When it pops up, it says Glen. It doesn't say Glen SMS or Glen phone, it just says Glen. So by sending out your contact card with your office number in there, that team number, super cool way to make sure. The other thing it enables you to do is for them to not go, who's this? That's embarrassing, right? Like when you're sending and interacting and they don't know the number. So it takes away the who's this by having them have your number, and then you can interact from KV Core interactively and send them messages. Like if I go in, I can literally click on this link, right? Or I can say I want to send a core video. I'll show you this as it goes. So the way that it works is a core video, it would be if I want to send her a text and I want to tell her I'm checking on these, right? I can literally go in, open the recorder, and it might be a little bit dim, but I know these folks so I can do it, and I'll show you how it works.
Can I ask you a question?
Yep.
If the rest of the office has the same number and send them a text through that number, it's gonna show up your name as well.
All of my team members have the number in their contact, so on their phone it shows up as their name and number because it's their contact record, not mine. Now, if we both were on their phone, it will show whoever last interacted.
But if they use the same number as you, the client will get a text message from them that shows Glenn.
If they don't only have one contact in their phone. So so it's the contact record that matters. If yours was in the phone and mine was in the phone, and we both had the same team number, it's gonna show them Glenn and your name.
Okay.
Yeah. So you got that? So you ever see a call where he comes in and it says two names on it?
No.
Yep, thank you. Yep, nice meeting you.
Bye,
If
Tara.
it'll show both names because it doesn't know who it is on their phone contact record, right? So that could potentially absolutely happen. For us, it's the team number. Don't worry about what will come back, because when they reply, you're the last one that sent the message, and it will come back to your KV4 database.
I just think it's confusing, because if two agents inside the same office are contacting the same client.
We
it's-
have it all the time. I have
Yeah.
I have 9 of them doing it, and we've never had an issue.
No,
No, never.
It's because, if like from an open house, you got that lead, right? Because it's in your contacts in KV Core knows to send that person to you, not to another team member.
That's right.
yeah, but like you said, if they go to 2 open houses in
Yeah.
the same day, 2 agents get that contact
Yep.
of that buyer,
Yep.
and the 2 agents are texting them.
It can absolutely
I
happen.
think it's.
Now,
I think
if you
it's-
text from your phone,
Texting
you're
from
fine.
Micro.
They're gonna know it's you because your contact's there. If you text from the system, you're sending them listings. I only really send listings or updates to listings through the system. And that's how I've established it with them in terms of rapport. But we have 9 agents, and I'm one of those crazy agents that never does both sides of the deal. I only do single side deals, right? So I never host my own open houses. My team members host all of them. When they host them, they're always gonna be in competition. Like, I'll have Saturday and Sunday open houses, and they'll both have people that come back and all that jazz. Never had an interaction where it didn't work out. You're always gonna have something, right? You could have the same thing if you're hosting an open house, and what we try to do is just set up rules of engagement up front. Now, when you send custom messages though, everything has your name after in our system. So it'll say, Glenn, I put GB after a lot of mine, but whatever you put, it'll show that. Because if you look up variables is the word, and the support, it'll tell you all the variables that exist in KV Core. So what a variable is you'd say bracket first underscore name, that's Glenn, or your name, and then the rest of the message. That's how you make templates in KV Core. And there's a whole video on it on KV Core's site if you want to look at it. But what it does is it plugs in that contact's name into your message. And I'll use it a couple times depending on the type of message I use. So all of my messages are personalized no matter what happens. And you can put those anywhere. I put them in the subject line all the time because I want them to know it's them. I want them to know that I'm corresponding with you, this is personal, not some generic email you're just getting out of the blue. Now, of course, everyone on all these different platforms does that same thing. That's why I send video, and video has a tendency to do it. Now, I'll give you a good second tip outside of Zenbot, one that's 2 most productive things. I will forewarn you, do not search for this on Google, just go to your app store. It's an app called Make It Big, okay? Do not go to Google, I assure you. It won't go well.
You know what?
Okay? But here's what it is. That, right? All it does is make text big. Uses emojis, uses anything. So all I do is I pop this up, hold it up to my camera, and I go, Beth, just want to say I got blah, 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 and I say my message. But she sees her name, Beth. The open rate is insanely high. My bombs all get open, they get playthroughs. And the reason is that. I used to do it with a whiteboard, and I'd hold it, and I'd write it on the whiteboard. This is just a way I can produce much more. When you think you can't do video, I literally have a video up here, right? I won't necessarily say this. All I have to do is hit record. 3, 2, 1, and if I hold this up, ooh, upside down. Beth. Hey Beth, how you doing? Blah, 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 blah. I just recorded that, right? And now I hit stop. Video done. Save and send. I have a rule on the team. I say just send it. Don't watch it. Don't listen to it. Right? 'Cause you're gonna delete it. I guarantee you're gonna delete it. But if you just go at it and don't worry about it, trust me, there's almost nothing you're gonna do that's gonna be received poorly. And people are so scared of video. And if there's an interaction point in KV Core, we don't have it from the office. We actually pay for it individually. That is the best way. And I can tell you, as someone who bought it for my team at Weichert, and I look at the video stats and be pissed because they weren't using it, and then people paid for it, and all of a sudden they used it a lot. So, and it's $30. But what? Well, I think it's $30 a month, right? Peanuts. But it's
For
now
unlimited
them seeing
videos.
you.
Yeah.
It's just that if anyone asks me what the difference in my business is from others that are trying to grow and having a hard time scaling, it's video. 100%
Absolutely.
video. I'll tell you, all day, all night is video.
Just a tip, you guys should add Glenn Baker to your Facebook page. Add him as a friend, and you'll see some of the videos come up that Glenn does, which
Yeah.
is pretty neat stuff to see.
Yeah, no, and a lot of my
Always topical.
videos are, I put up a video 10 ways to win deals and 2 special ways at the end, if you stay around, to how to win VA deals. I got calls from Weichert agents saying, we won. Just because I want to let you know, we won because of what you said. I'm a believer in video, I'm a believer in giving information, that's why I'm here today, right? But I can tell you that if there's one thing, and here's the tip, nobody cares what you look like. It's you. Like, everybody worries about their hair, their face. I see my agents like, I'm like, I put gel in my hair and I forgot to brush it, so it's like straight up. I just send the video. I just hit send because I'm a human being on the other end and I want them to all to know that, right? And like, this is obviously not for this person, but all you literally do is say, use this recording, and then you hit a send button and the video's done. It was that, we did a video right like that. That's how fast it is. I keep a webcam on my monitor. You can use anything you want. BombBomb works on your cell phone. You can do it there. My tip with video is level off the way they're leveling off. Meaning, if you are texting with them, don't send a BombBomb through text. Record a video and send it through text. There's a difference, right? BombBomb shows you this link, and it has this cool thing. So if I hit use this recording, and I like to use it, you're gonna see that BombBomb makes, in a second, because I'm on internet here, it'll eventually show up. See how BombBomb activates it? It tells him how long the video is. That's just a GIF. It's not the actual video.
Like a preview.
But because it's in motion, people click it because they think that it's theirs, and they click it, and then BombBomb launches. When you get a text message with a link that you don't know, what do? Ignore it.
Ignore it.
So don't send a BombBomb that way if you're not interacting with them regularly. Send a video. Just open up your text, make a video, and say the same thing, and level off on that same format. So this is all rapport, right? And you have to know what's appropriate and what's not in terms of texting. I set out a mandate with the team that said, if someone texts, you return it with a call. Who's doing it? Very few, right? That's the only reason why we did it, to be different, right? It may not be the right answer for everyone, but everyone likes to hide behind text, right? So when I get a text, we want to call. That's our tactic right now. We just instituted a challenge on that with the team. But everyone's saying, yeah, they actually started to talk to me a lot more than they did via text. I said, that's because text lose context. How many husband-wife fights happen because of text, right? like I said, what's for dinner? Not, I'm going to kill you. Like, I said, what's for dinner? So level off, and all these tools that they have are only good in certain formats, right? So I generally will send text through KV Core, but they're going to come in via that generic number. Just know that. It's going to go out via the office number. If they already have and know me and they're interacting on listings, they know it's coming that way, so no big deal. If you send this blindly, it's pretty unlikely to go. So my first interaction, anyone hate cold calls? I'm not a fan of cold calls. I gotta imagine everybody, right? So if you send a video to someone like this, it says Beth, and you say, hey Beth, I'm gonna give you a call tomorrow. You think in your head, you think it's more warm than it was cold? Mine does. Makes me pretty bulletproof. So that's why I do them that way. I send out the message the day before, and then I do the actual call, and I feel like I'm calling someone that they already know my face. Why wouldn't they? And if they say they didn't get the video, I go, oh, I have to send it to you again. It was really funny, and then I'll make some stupid one up. That's different. But the idea is, like, you want to have a reason to interact, and the way that you do it is through video. Like, it puts a person. When you make a cold call to somebody, sure, you can make some cold calls, and we'll all have success doing it. And my team has recently had really good success because we've honed the scripts of it. But once it gets to the next level, how do you get them over the top? And that's putting them on these types of systems and campaigns until they're ready to be at the point that we want them to be, which is make a commission. Not everyone's ready yet, so you have to be able to nurture them along, and that's what this system does for you. So with BombBomb, I just want to point out, I use it a lot. I use the listing piece quite a bit too. So this is the same people looking at it. I just want to go through. Yeah, that's good flag. All your emails, if you're integrated, will come in this way. You'll notice that Zillow integrates with this. Do you guys use Zillow for this as well? Your Zillow leads come in?
Yep.
Okay. So the one thing I will say is sometimes the Zillow feed doesn't give us all the information. So just make sure that you get it or have a way to enhance it. Zillow ones are cool. I was telling you earlier about these buyer leads, right, that come from lenders. Lenders are always beating on your door saying, hey, give me, how can I help? How can I do this, right? I just turned the conversation around and said, you can help by me helping you. Give me your long form leads and I'll make the phone calls. And I'll guarantee you everyone we get. I don't know if anyone uses a guy named Matt Zieger. I use him from Cardinal Financial quite a bit. And Matt and I have worked together for a while. And I did a test run of just 100 leads. And I said to the team, everybody's gotta call today. Like I'm calling, you're calling, everyone call today, because I wanna make sure we test this thing out and see. And that's where we got that 70 to 100 ratio, just from those simple leads. And it's an easy conversation, because you're just gonna call and say, hey, I'm just calling because I know you made an inquiry on Zillow, I'm checking to see if you're still shopping for a home. How hard is that? And if they say no, awesome. Or I bought it a year ago, we get a lot of that because some of these leads are older. Just say great. And then you know what you do? You put them on a campaign, right? Eventually they're gonna do it, they're gonna sell. I'm only in the business a little over 2 years, and I already have people that are selling the houses I sold them. I'm gonna be selling them because I kept in contact with them. Not by me, because I wish I could. I wish I could keep that level of interaction, I just can't. The system did it, it's not me, right? When I explained it, I kind of glossed over, you couldn't read the Cyrillic Russian language up there for the campaigns, but let me just I'll bring up a smart campaign for closed, so that you can understand how I use campaigns and how you can use them. And it does require work. And the earlier comment about an investment, it takes an investment in time to do a campaign that's custom. I call this one 1 year to Sphere. So they're on this campaign for 1 year, and then I put them over to my Sphere campaign. So the Sphere campaign is taxes, how to help you, utility bills, cool things you can do for winter, summer, fall, that kind of stuff, right? Just value, value, value. This is, you've now sold it, and it puts them on home bought immediately, right? So once they're sold, I want them to have their home value. I know what their home value is because it just sold for it, so I put it right in there, right? And then it goes into a buyer campaign, and it's, it's this. When I was talking about the names, this is the insert that we use. So if you do a search on the support site on KV Core and type variable, this comes up. It'll give you the whole list, there's a lot of them. And you can plug in any deal. So I said, we did it. As you're getting settled, I'm sure you'll come across a need for a contract or other home advice, just reach out. We have lots of providers at Morris Agent, right? And then the name. And then if I go down again, once it loads, let's see if it loads. I apologize, I'm on cellular here. Our reviews, same thing. Closed buyers go right on a campaign for reviews. Does everyone get a review every single sale? Does anyone believe that, who shops on Amazon? Does anyone use the star ratings? I can assure you, everybody uses your reviews. And it only became truly, I knew it was important, but I didn't know how important it was until about a month and a half ago. I got a call, and the person on the other side was a flipper, and he does about 150 homes a year, all over New Jersey. They have a fine-tuned engine, as I found out, right? And then he called me up and said, you are the highest reviewed agent on Zillow for Boonton. Now, when he said Boonton, it's Boonton Township, right? But he said you have the most sales, highest reviews. I got a phone call simply from having a review. When I go out, you can be darn sure in Boonton, I'm touting that, right? And it's so simple because you've done all the hard work. You closed it, you did it all. But if you don't ask for it, then you're never gonna get it. So the closed campaign does it. Now, I will give you a tip off. Facebook really screwed us up if you're doing ads and stuff of recent. iPhones are taken out of the picture in my eyes. I've stopped investing anything in Facebook ads in the last 2 months because iOS 14 eliminated our ability to necessarily target people directly. And I did a lot of that. So my game was, I get you to click, get to my website. My website drops this thing on your phone or your browser, and then I stalk you for the rest of the time. I show you everything I want to show you because I'm going to control that. Facebook took it away. So it has never been more important to use Google than now. And Google meaning Google reviews, a Google business page. That's how you're going to get really good leads in the next, at least the foreseeable future. So if you don't have those two, I would highly suggest, and Google's a little bit of a pain setting up the business page because they still send you a postcard for it. I don't understand why. Might as well send
With your
a
code on it.
Yeah.
Here's your security code.
But if you do that,
Snail mail?
you have a place to do the reviews. I basically, so this campaign goes out and says, can you put the reviews, right? A later campaign sends them the actual link because no one ever does it the first time, right? It's so soon afterwards, that's why. The next one goes out and says, can you please put one up on Zillow for me? Because I like to get the Zillow one because that's where most people are shopping, right? And they're seeing it. Once they do the Zillow one, I send them a follow-up one saying, sorry to be a pest, you know social proof is so important. I want to make sure everyone gets the same treatment I gave you. And I don't want to ever, the comment I always say is, I want to prevent everyone from their next mistake. And I'm not that mistake, right? And I literally say it like that. I change the table, right? I'm the hero and there's a villain. Everyone has to have a hero and a villain. I say, please just copy your last review and put it on Google for me. Here's the link, just copy, paste, takes 1 minute. Everybody does it, 100%. Now I have Google and Zillow, the two places that I need to be. Facebook reviews are useless, very honestly. I've never had anything, never come with them. It's a waste of time. I used to include it, now I don't. So, but those reviews get you rankings. If you're a Zillow agent, they're gonna get you leads. I mean, that's the end, at the end of the day, that's as simple as that. So, reviews can be automated. All you have to do is create a campaign. It's type closed. If you do anything, just do 3 steps for a review. Hey, in a day, I'm gonna send you a link for a review. Just wanted you to think about these things I want you to say. There's no reason that you can craft the message for the reviews. Like I always say to everyone, or sometimes I'll customize and say, tell them about how I cleaned your gutters. Like I'll do, or tell them about how I dug out your septic lid to prove it was filled. Like that's video stuff you want people to remember, because when you did it 7 weeks ago, they're not gonna remember when they wrote the review. Craft your reviews, the message you wanna send to the market, and use this to do it as a reminder. Be sure to do it, because it's super important. You wouldn't buy something off Amazon that had 1 star. Why would anyone buy someone that has 0 stars on any of those platforms? Really, really critical. Any of you do it manually, it's fine. You know, but I do it automatically because I forget. That's it. But I do it. So then there's texts that go out, and it's like every day 0 to this one. Well, we went from every day, sometimes twice a day, to no messages. Thinking about you today, hoping your new home is treating you well. Imagine getting that message after you bought a house 15 days later. It's pretty cool, right?
Yep.
It comes across, and it fits me, right? And my agents have their own campaigns. It fits the style, and I didn't do it. All I did was I made sure I planned that. That's the campaigns. If I'm selling you on campaigns, I hope that I do, because I know I'm not good enough of an agent to remember every person to follow up with. I'm just not. And once you start really getting leads in here, it's tough. So it basically goes through, and it even goes down to, send them a buyer at day 75. We send them a handwritten note. That task goes to one of my admins, so they just handwrite the note, and sometimes include like a lottery card or something like that, right? But it's planned. I've planned the interaction. So if you're doing a campaign, I suggest you sit down and go, all right, this is a closed buyer. I want them to remember me once a month, 12 interactions, and what do I want to say? It's as simple as that. Be you, but write them down, see how they look and feel, and then you put them in the system. That's the hardest part, is getting them down. Putting them in the system is just the semantics of going through it.
But you do that once for your
Yes.
campaign, that's gonna hit
And
every
forever.
closed buyer.
Yeah, and I'm a very I don't want to say scripted in terms of being insincere, because any client that I'm invited to 3 weddings for clients I just sold houses to. I really take it to heart. I care about these people, right? And it's not casual. But I just, if I don't interact with them, then it's almost like I left. It's like walking by someone on the street and not saying hi, or someone making a comment on Facebook and not replying. It's like, it's almost not good, right? It's not how I interacted in the first place. So to me, this is making sure I never miss that. And that's a very important piece to it. But once you do it once, and it's you're forever, you're gonna, and we have campaigns that run in campaigns. This campaign ends in 12 months. Then it goes into the sphere, and that's just the regular old sphere stuff we do once a year. We put in new content once a year. And then it's for everybody. You can go 1 to 1 million people if you want to. Super powerful.
Glenn, do you use voice drop much?
I do. Very selectively.
Okay.
I create, for listings, super easy. I'm gonna warn you about the things about voice drops. So KV Core's voice drops are integrated, they're really cool. You just have to subscribe, you pay a monthly fee of $20 or whatever you're gonna pay. There's different levels. And it will have X number of credits to do it. Everyone hopefully does some kind of circle prospecting around their listings, right? We all know that a listing usually has another listing close by. You take that list of people, put it into KV Core. So you go on to Cole, whatever your tool is of choice to get the tax record, whatever it is. I prefer Cole. And then if you haven't used a product called Fiverr, Fiverr.
Yep.
Okay, so Fiverr is a platform that you can hire people to do research for you, skip tracing and names and stuff like that. I'm lazy. I have a guy that does 3 cents per name. If you have someone that's cheaper, send it to me. If you don't, text me, I'll send you mine.
These are the same people that do graphic design and logos
Yep,
and
same
everything.
thing, yep.
Okay.
And I use them for, I use Fiverr for my accounting, because I have Morris Agent Corporation. So I actually get, I get a paycheck, not a commission check. It goes into my Morris Agent Corp, and then but they do all my accounting. They do all my, some of my social media, they do for me.